think one of the most disorienting experiences a person can have is realizing they got exactly what they wanted: the job, the relationship, the house, the title, the dream, the thing they spent years working toward. And then one day discovering the person who wanted it and the person living it have become two very different people. This has been coming up in my sessions lately. Someone tells me they feel restless, and within a few minutes, they're explaining why they have no right to feel that way. Their relationship is good, their career is stable, their bills are paid, their life makes sense. They start listing evidence. But what if the discomfort isn't coming from something falling apart? What if it's coming from something being outgrown? I think a lot of us build our lives around the questions we're trying to answer at a particular moment. Someone who grew up without security builds a life around stability. Someone who spent years feeling overlooked builds a life around achievement. Someone who learned early that love could disappear builds a life around being needed. The choices make sense. They're intelligent responses to the circumstances we're living in at the same time. The challenge is that life keeps moving, and eventually the answer you've built your life around stops being the question you're asking. I remember talking to a woman who had spent nearly 20 years climbing in her career. She was successful by every measure people usually use. The money was good, the title carried weight, people sought out her opinion, people wanted her job. Yet, as she talked, I noticed something. Every story she told about work sounded like a memory, like she was describing a place she used to love. There was appreciation in her voice, respect, pride, but there was very little curiosity. And I couldn't stop thinking about that. The title still mattered, the work still mattered, yet the spark lived somewhere else. A session came to mind while I was thinking about this. Someone arrived with a question about work, yet the conversation kept circling back to something else. A dream they hadn't touched, an idea they'd been carrying for years, something that refused to go away. And I think that's where people get stuck. Because once you've invested years into something, leaving can feel like a betrayal of the person who built it. You remember how hard they worked. You remember what they sacrificed. You remember the nights they stayed awake wondering whether any of it would amount to anything. Maybe that's what keeps people in a place of loyalty. Loyalty to the person who fought so hard to get there. Maybe that's why these moments feel so complicated. The life itself often isn't the problem. The relationship may still be loving. The career may still be meaningful. The dream may still be beautiful. It's simply answering a question you finished asking years ago, especially when everyone around you is congratulating you for finally arriving. Looking back, the clues were everywhere. The conversations that energized you, the projects you kept returning to, the subjects you couldn't stop reading about, the parts of your life that pulled you in, and the parts that quietly lost their grip. Eventually, you find yourself standing in the middle of your life you intentionally created, realizing it reflects a chapter that has already been lived. I don't think the goal is to judge those chapters. They got us here. They carried us. They served a purpose. But every once in a while, life offers an opportunity to look around and ask a simple question. Does the life surrounding me reflect who I am today? Or is it still speaking to the person who built it? I'll stop there.